Welcome to Inside the Summit League, a jolly January to you. Tom Neiman along with Brad Newitt. And it is basketball season, people. We've got actual Summit League games going on, and I love a lot of the pre-conference stuff, Brad, the matchups against the Big Ten and all over the country. But this is really the best time of year for Summit League teams, isn't it?
It is, and I think the thing that's really neat about the Summit League is now we're getting some stability in the conference and the league, and so the teams know each other really well. You're starting to see a lot of familiarity with coaches. The fans are getting to know the players, and so there's some good rivalries getting developed here.
All right, the league is already having a great year. The women from South Dakota State and South Dakota, both in the top 20 in the College Insider mid-major poll. They're both in the top 10 in the ESPN mid-major poll, if you want to look at that. The Omaha women have 9 wins already this season. They had a total of 10 last year. They are looking good. On the men's side of things, there are 17 so-called mid-major conferences, and the Summit League has outperformed all of them so far, 13-2 against Big Sky Conference teams like Montana and Northern Colorado and the University of North Dakota. The Summit League won more than it lost against the Horizon League and the Ohio Valley and the Atlantic Sun, very good mid-major leagues. And the Summit hit an all-time high with 60 wins over Division I teams this year. Had 26 road wins. That is more than any Division I league, mid-major or otherwise. And the league, Brad, is sitting at number 11 this week in the conference RPI standings. South Dakota State's men are number 37 in the RPI standings. That's the highest individual team. But the RPI thing is nice. I don't give it a lot of merit sometimes because it's based so much on who you play and who you play has played in the past. So should I be more impressed with all the Summit League standings and all the hoopla over where the Summit League is in the RPI?
Well, I think the one thing it does tell you is the Summit League was great in scheduling this year because there were some tough games that were scheduled, and that's part of the RPI is just simply who you play, whether you win or not. And the Summit League did a great job scheduling to start with. But then on top of that, the Summit League teams went out and won true road games. That's what's really helped them in the RPI. I think the thing that'll be interesting is to watch how the RPI rankings continue to progress and change now that we're into conference play across the country.
And does it mean anything when we get to postseason for Summit League teams individually in the RPI standings?
I think it could matter when you start looking at some of the second-tier tournaments. People are kind of hoping that maybe that could mean the Summit League might get an at-large team to the NCAA tournament. Honestly, I don't see that happening at this point. I think we're still a ways away from that. Could have happened down the road, maybe. I don't think things are set up very well for that this year, especially on the men's side. But it could help when you start talking about who you play like in an NIT or a College Insider tournament.
All right, here are the players of the week this week in women's and men's basketball. Take a look at those, and we are right back with the rundown on the opening weekend of league play in men's basketball.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back. Let's get to the week that was in Summit League men's basketball, the opening week of league games, Newitt. And you start right out with a very good one in Fort Wayne. Oral Roberts goes to Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne wins it 90-84 despite 38 points, a career high for Obi Omegano for Oral Roberts.
Well, I think that's what we're going to see out of Oral Roberts this year is Omegano is going to be the guy that's going to have to carry them offensively. But I thought a really good win for Fort Wayne. They're a team that's really playing well offensively here right now to start the Summit League season.
They've got a lot of those road wins in the pre-conference season we were talking about. Max Landis had 21 for Fort Wayne. Mo Evans, 15 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists in that win for Fort Wayne. Then on Friday, it was Omaha over Western Illinois, 82-80. Western Illinois led this game for 37 minutes and let it slip away.
They did. The last 5 minutes were just a train wreck for Western Illinois. They played great basketball before that point, but turnovers, missed shots down the stretch, Omaha finds a way to get what was a huge home win for them.
Tate Stensgaard had 26 for Western Illinois. Devin Patterson, though, 25.7 assists for Omaha. Jake White with 20 as the Mavericks pull that one out against Western Illinois. Also on Friday was IUPUI at South Dakota, and the Jaguars get one of just 2 road wins on opening weekend.
That's a big win for IUPUI. Right out of the gate, you go down to the Dakota Dome, you get that win. I thought IUPUI came out in that game with a lot of great energy, played with a lot of toughness, really defended a very good offensive team in USD and held them to 66 points.
Jaguars shot it well as well, 50% from the field. Darryl Combs, a transfer from Eastern Michigan, had 19 for IUPUI. Jags missed 13 free throws in this game too, or it might have been a bigger margin, but they get the road win at South Dakota. Denver has to start the season with the road trip to South Dakota State and North Dakota State. They go to the Jackrabbits first, and a pretty close game, but South Dakota State pulls it out 68-59.
I thought South Dakota State really had to gut that one out. Denver deserves a lot of credit from this. They really controlled the tempo of the game. I thought they really did a nice job of forcing South Dakota State to play their style of basketball and nearly pulled a big upset on the road.
Denver starts 2 freshmen. They get 2 more coming off the bench. Marcus Bird, their senior, had 16 in this game to lead Denver, but George Marshall back after missing 6 games for South Dakota State. He goes for 11, and the Jackrabbits pull it out 68-59. And then Denver, 2 days later, has to go to Fargo and take on North Dakota State, and the Bison beat them up pretty good in this one, 75-49.
I think that was a tough turnaround for Denver. They had to play that game after about 36 hours of the game in Brookings, and you saw North Dakota State, who didn't have to play 2 days earlier, really kind of ready to go in that one, did a great job executing offensively. They shot over 60%, did the Bison in that win.
Yeah, 62% for North Dakota State. Paul Miller had 18. He's leading them in scoring right now. Carlin Dupree with 16 coming off the bench for North Dakota State in the win over Denver. Also on Sunday, South Dakota State at home against Western Illinois. This game was close as well. Western led by as many as 11 in the first half. They led by 5 at halftime, but South Dakota State comes back, gets the lead midway through the second half, and they win by 4.
Great defensive game, I thought, for Western Illinois. They really came out and defended South Dakota State, which is a very good offensive team from the perimeter. South Dakota State still banged up with some injuries at the guard position. Jake Biddle did not play in this game for the Jackrabbits. You could tell they're missing his kind of senior leadership and some of the toughness that he brings to the floor, Tom. But you know, Western Illinois, a team that's picked preseason 9th, goes on the road to the preseason favorite and hangs with them the whole game. This might be a sign of some really close games to come here in the Summit League season.
Yeah, Garrett Covington, one of the preseason players of the year, had 20 for Western Illinois, 13 of those coming in the first half. Redshirt freshman Mike Dahm with 17 points and 7 rebounds off the bench for South Dakota State as the Jackrabbits get to 2-0. Omaha is 2-0 as well. They win again at home over IUPUI on Sunday, 76-71. Marcellus Barksdale had 16 for the Jaguars, but they made just 1 of 15 three-point shots in that game. Trayshawn Thurman with 21 points, and Devin Patterson, another great game for Omaha with 24 as the Mavericks get to 2-0. And then South Dakota, after losing at home to IUPUI, they go on the road and win at Oral Roberts. Obi Emegano did not play in that game for Oral Roberts. He's got concussion symptoms, so he sat this one out. But the Coyotes put 94 up and win by 10.
Oh, you can see how good USD can be offensively. They're one of the best teams in the country in team assists. They really share the ball well, and they were really clicking on all cylinders Sunday night. Certainly, Oral Roberts misses Omegano in their lineup, but still, great road win for USD and kind of atoned for that home loss they had to IUPUI.
Oral Roberts got 15 from true freshman Chris Martin, but South Dakota 22 from Trey Burnett and 20 from Casey Caspabar. The Coyotes kind of switched up their starting lineup, brought Shai McClelland off the bench in this one, and worked in this game at least as they win by 10 at Oral Roberts. Coming up this weekend, or this week anyway, Omaha at that 2-0 mark so far. They're on the road on Thursday at North Dakota State. That's going to be good.
That will be good. It's going to be really a clash in styles because Omaha wants to play very up-tempo, very offensive-minded. North Dakota State more of a control the pace, very defensive-minded team. But Omaha's a team, they're off to a good start. They're 2-0. Can they take that on the road now and see if they can steal one up in Fargo?
Yeah, Mavericks play at North Dakota State on Thursday and then at South Dakota on Saturday. Great opening weekend for the men in Summit League play. And we will be back. We will run down the opening week for the league in women's basketball when we come back on Inside the Summit League.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back now to women's basketball, and almost everybody in the league with 2 games in already. Omaha is looking good early on here in the Summit League season, Brad. They've got 2 wins. They started out with a 25-point win at home against North Dakota State. Moreno Whittle, 19 points, 15 rebounds for the Bison, but Omaha's got a really good combo of Michaela Shaw inside and Remy Davenport outside, and those 2 were big in this game for Omaha.
Omaha's a team that's really playing well offensively, and they're a team that likes to play some up-tempo style as well, and they really exerted their will in playing that style against North Dakota State in that win.
Davenport had 23, Michaela Shaw with 19 points and 14 rebounds for the Mavericks as they get the opening win. South Dakota State goes to Denver, and Denver beat them last year in Denver, but a little different story this year, 76-39. Denver's got 3 players out with injuries right now that combine for about 30 points a game, so we're not sure what the Pioneers have. But South Dakota State hit 11 threes in this game, including 5 from true freshman Madison Giebert.
Well, if Giebert's shooting the basketball that well, she really complements everything else they already have. South Dakota State's got great scoring at all the positions on the floor. If they can get the true freshman Giebert scoring at that level, they're going to be a tough team for anyone to handle.
All right, and then Denver on the road on Friday at South Dakota. Paige Bradley with 18 in this one for Denver, but they go down by 25 again. South Dakota is one of the pre-conference favorites, preseason favorites, I should say, along with South Dakota State. Nicole Seekamp, Player of the Year candidate with 17 points and 9 assists in this game. That's what she usually does.
That is what she does. You don't see a lot of star players that are such a great passer like Seekamp is. I mean, she averages almost 8 assists a game. She does a great job getting her teammates involved, and that's what makes South Dakota such a great offensive team. They average over 80 points a game for a reason. Seekamp's a big part of that.
All right, also on Friday, IUPUI, a win at Fort Wayne, 69-50. A sophomore, Danielle Lawrence, had 17 in this game for IUPUI. They overcome 25 turnovers to get the win. Akila Sims with 16 as well for IUPUI. We're not really sure what they're going to be right up there toward the top of the league, we've got to believe.
I think so. I mean, they're a team that always plays with a lot of heart and a lot of passion. I think this is a team that has had to rely on their defense a lot of times to win games. This appears to me this year that they've got a little more offensive firepower, and that can make them dangerous.
All right, Jags win on the road at Fort Wayne. Oral Roberts at Western Illinois. Oral Roberts, they had all those freshmen last year that are now sophomores. One of them is Kaylin Mayberry, had 25 points in this game for Oral Roberts, but Western Illinois wins it by 11. They've got a freshman named Taylor Higginbottom who had 21 in this game, and Western Illinois, both these teams playing without great players that they had last year. Vicky McIntyre graduated from Oral Roberts. She is done. Ashley Luke, no longer at Western Illinois, transferred to Green Bay, so a little different for both these teams this season.
And that's tough when you lose your star players and your go-to players like those 2 teams, especially Western Illinois losing Ashley Luke, because she was a player that had the ball in her hands a lot. So they're going to have to find new playmakers there in Macomb.
All right, on Sunday, Oral Roberts, a road win at IUPUI. So the Jaguars, they win on the road at Fort Wayne, and then they lose to Oral Roberts at home in the next game. Kaylin Mayberry, again, with 16 points in this game for Oral Roberts. Jaguars shoot at just 29% as ORU gets the road win there. Omaha gets its second win as they beat Western Illinois 79-66. Michelle Maher with 18 for Western Illinois, but Remy Davenport, 27 points in this game for Omaha as the Maverick women get to 2-0.
Well, Davenport, 2 20-point games in the first 2 Summit League games. And again, at least at home, Omaha has shown the ability to really play well offensively. And they look like a team that's going to be at least tough to beat at home. And the big question will be what they can do on the road here.
All right, they got a big road game coming up this week. South Dakota State at North Dakota State as well on Sunday. Jackrabbits use a 15-0 run in the fourth quarter to pull away and win this one by 18. Ellie Thompson, 16 points, 12 rebounds for the Jackrabbits. Macy Miller had 29 for South Dakota State. And Taylor Thunstead, another sophomore young player, 28 points. She made 6 threes for NDSU with the Jackrabbits winning the road.
Well, this was a case where South Dakota State just used their depth and finally wore down North Dakota State. It was a nip-and-tuck ball game. Either team had leads throughout the first 3 quarters, but then South Dakota State on that big run in the fourth quarter really just kind of wore the Bison down, they're not a real deep team yet. They'll get there, I think, eventually, but right now South Dakota State kind of flexed their muscle there.
All right, Jackrabbits at home. They are 2-0. They take on Omaha on Thursday, and we'll find out if Omaha can go on the road and get a win against the league favorites. North Dakota State is at Denver on Thursday, and we start seeing how it shakes out as we get into the second week of the Summit League season coming up this week. Thanks to Brad Newitt. Appreciate it, sir. And as we have seen, there are a lot of good freshmen and redshirt freshmen in the Summit League this year. We will meet a couple of young players from Fort Wayne, the Mastodons, when we come back.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Welcome back. One of the guys who is going to be up for consideration for Newcomer of the Year in Summit League men's basketball this year is John Conchar.
Hello, my name is John Conchar. I am a redshirt freshman, and I came to IPFW because I think it was the best opportunity for me to pursue my academic goals and be able to play basketball at the same time. Me and the coaches kept talking about if I should redshirt or not, and I just decided to redshirt because I was a 167-pound kid coming in college, and I thought that if I redshirted and lifted all the time, I would gain a bunch of muscle mass and all that, and just be able to make our team better the next 4 years. It was 16 months without playing basketball games or anything, which was kind of hard on me, but I knew if I just kept lifting, it would work out at the end.
Well, there is another young player making a splash at IPFW on the women's team. Josie Fisher is a true freshman from Fort Wayne, and she is second in scoring right now for her hometown team.
Hi, I'm Josie Fisher, and I am a freshman guard at IPFW. If you guys want, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Joe Blowfish. I chose to play at IPFW because it's my hometown, and Coach Paul is a great coach. My sophomore year in high school, we were playing Southside, and that year they ended up going to state, and usually it was a big game for us because it was like our rivalry on the schedule. And before the game, I was running around, and I slipped and fell off the bleachers and sprained my ankle. And my coach made me play anyway because it was a big game, and I ended up having a triple-double. I had 31 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and we won by a point. When I was choosing the college that I wanted to play basketball at, one of my biggest inspirations and one of the factors that contributed the most to my decision was the fact that Amanda Hyde and Haley Seibert played at IPFW, and they've been my role models ever since I was in middle school, and I want to be just like them when I grow up.
Well, we keep the freshman flow going next in Denver, where the men's team is giving it a go this year with a ton of first-year players on the roster.
Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, Dakota Land Honda, and South Dakota Corn. Inside the Summit League on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and the Sioux Falls Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Well, there are young teams, and then there is Denver this year. The Pioneer men have 13 first or second year players on their roster, and they are starting three freshmen, or they were starting three freshmen at the beginning of the season. Here is Marissa Belzer with more on all the fresh faces in Denver.
There are several new faces on the University of Denver men's basketball team this season. The Pioneers added 9 freshmen to the team, including 3 walk-ons, and the new Pios are feeling the heat.
It's definitely put more pressure, just making sure that we are able to learn what we're taught to do faster. We just need to learn as quick as possible, so that we can be able to do it when we play.
One might see a team full of young guys as the negative, but Denver is trying to turn it into a positive.
I think it is a benefit because people look at us like they're young, but really we're not, because we're mentally matured, and I think having us all together at the same time will definitely help this year and in future years because we'll just already know what to do, and our team chemistry will just continue to grow and get better.
There's more pressure some days than others, but knowing they're not going through the transition alone helps.
It's great to grow with the guys. As you're coming in, you all kind of don't know what to expect, but we're all just working as hard as we can, and it's great to kind of grow with some guys you'll know for a long time, kind of already feel like family, but it's been a really good experience so far.
The few upperclassmen on the team are also doing their best to give their new teammates guidance and encouragement.
Just like kind of talking to them on and off the court, trying to help them out, and then hopefully they'll like take those words and take what Coach Scott says and like apply it to practice. But just kind of being like an overall leader, just talking to them, making sure that they understand like it's going to be hard. He's going to yell at you. He still yells at me. And I've been here a long time.
Along with the positive reinforcement, the veteran players have made a strong push to lead by example this season.
The biggest thing this year was for all the seniors to be machines. And in order to be a machine, you got to play hard, have tireless work ethic, and having that will help the freshmen and the young guys.
The team bond is something that's already come along for the Pioneers.
Chemistry is very well. Everybody gets along, and playing-wise, you can tell it kind of translates to the floor.
I mean, obviously, we'll get in fights in practice and stuff because everybody's competitive and wants to win, but at the end of the day, everybody's friends with each other.
Denver hopes their close team bond will help them through the adversity they're facing this season.
Like it's going to be tough. Yeah, we're a young team, but I think we have a good combination of like young and old like on the court at the same time. I think that'll work out in our benefit.
Well, right now, Denver's getting 39% of its scoring and 40% of its rebounding from freshman players. The Pioneers play at home against Oral Roberts and Fort Wayne coming up this week. Thanks to all of our Summer League shooters. We'll see you next week.